Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592, the website at allamericangold.com, and welcome to Monday. It is June 20th. Yesterday was Father's Day. I hope all of you dads out there had a great day. Today is, well, I guess yesterday was Juneteenth, the latest federal holiday. So today, when that happens, federal holidays fall on a weekend. The federal government is closed today. The stock market is closed today. The gold markets are open. The oil markets are open. I believe most of the foreign markets are open, but here at home, closed. I think the banks are closed today as well. So not a lot of economic data out. And conversely, gold and silver are kind of just doing nothing, Jason. Essentially right where they were at when they closed on Friday, 1840 on gold, about 2160 on silver.
That's right, Joe. And I don't know, I'm a little foggy. What exactly is Juneteenth? I have trouble keeping up with it.
Little history. So Juneteenth is, I'm going to say, the celebration of the last of the slaves that were freed. I want to say it was in Texas in 1865.
Got it. All right. That's what I thought. That's what it was. But it's these things they make up. You know, when you go with Brian on the afternoon show, it's got all these. This day of the week or this day of the federal day of this, and it's hard to keep up with it, Joe. It's hard to keep up with.
Well, you know what? It's really filling up the calendar,
yeah,
right? I mean, they got so many of these things.
Distractions, right? Don't look at the money and the decisions the powered brokers make. Just look at Juneteenth. Just worry about this stuff.
Yeah, I wish these things were more about us celebrating how far we've come versus, trying to, guilt of the past and well into the past, but neither here nor there. I won't really comment one way or the other. Over the weekend, and this is going to be interesting how this develops. So on Friday we did have a sell-off on crude oil, unleaded gas. Really, a lot of profit taking based on things are slowing down a lot faster. And, of course, Jay Powell, he was at that conference on Friday. Remember, Jay Powell let it be known, digital dollar's coming. Matter of fact, said, hey, we're going, not only is it coming, but we need the digital dollar. And the reason why is because it's going to help us maintain our international standing as far as the dollar, the reserve currency of the world. Jay Powell really just said, listen, we're still going to be out there, and don't get me wrong, the dollar's going to be used a lot. Unfortunately, it's just going to be less, Jason. But get ready. This is going to be the litany of reasons. It's going to get us out of the depression that's coming. Right? It's going right. It's going to stabilize inflation. It's going to stabilize the economy. Right.
I saw some guys talking about digital currencies on the way, and I was looking at different guys and different comments. I started thinking, you know what, Joe? I think I know. One video that said, hey, they have to make everybody adopt it. If people don't like it and people are suspicious of it, it won't work. They actually have to have some sort of acceptance. And there's nothing more accepting than, hey, let it compete against your Federal Reserve notes that are sitting in your bank account, and they just start unleashing this thing, which just say is, basic income for people, just like another printing session, which say after this big crash comes. And then, hey, your Federal Reserve, your digital Federal Reserve dollar, they can buy more in this inflative situation than your regular dollars. And if it buys more, Joe, then who's going to use the old stuff, right?
Right. And again, well, they're going to force it, right? Yep. I think you hit the nail on the head on that, which is acceptance. That was one of the things Jay Powell talked about on Friday. Hey, and oh, by the way, people got to use it, right, for it to work. And so to Jason's point, that's what they're going to do. This is going to be my guess. We're probably going to tie it to stimulus, just like look at what the Chinese did. Hey, everyone that uses it, we're going to load your phone, load your account, your Federal Reserve account with some free money, right? So, hey, that's always incentive. My guess is they're going to reward certain groups, right? If you make less than this amount of money, you get more free money. If you have kids under the age of 18, here's some more money. I mean, they're going to load it up.
Check out, Joe. This is how they do it. This is how they'll do it. Everyone has their, and I don't use credit cards, but everyone uses, hey, I get points every time I shop with it. That's how they'll do it. Hey, if you use your digital Federal Reserve notes at the gas pump, we'll give you 3% back or 5% back or 10% back. And they just load that into your account. Well, geez, I'm not going to use anything but my digital money on my card. Why should I use it? Why should I even use cash? I don't use cash. I get 10% or 5% back every time I use this thing right into my account. I think that's how they do it, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to do all of that stuff. And at the same time, this is where a lot of haircuts are going to come in. This is going to be where a lot of the, I'll call it, non-Federal Reserve accounts are going to have IRS agents and everybody else looking over your stuff. But that's a different show. When we get back, there was a big development in China over the weekend I need to talk about, let you know about. We'll talk about that next. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason here, Patriot Radio News Hour. A massive explosion over the weekend at an ethylene glycol production plant, if I'm saying that right. These are plants, and think about crude oil and natural gas and being refined into other products, and this was a huge production plant. My guess is, Jason, there's probably going to be more shortages in plastics because a lot of this stuff gets turned into plastics. Antifreeze could be something that becomes hard to get because of this as well, Jason.
Yes, absolutely. And I was seeing other news out of China. There's more and more banks that are not letting people get their money.
To that.
Boy, it's like
to that.
Energy problems and banking problems, man. It does get worse than those two things combined.
We are sitting here and think about. We don't know. We keep saying, and Jason and I keep telling you, be really careful with your money in the bank. As we learned in the financial crisis, right, as these bubbles have gotten so big, the fact that these banks are so massive that when all of a sudden people's ability to pay goes away, and they say suddenly, it's not sudden, right? It's gradually, and then it happens all at once. Then all of a sudden we've got problems. And remember, they changed the rules, right, through the SEC. This wasn't a vote in Congress. Matter of fact, most of the banking rules don't even go through Congress. It's kind of weird. The SEC handles a lot of that. The FDIC handles a bunch of it. I mean, there's so many different avenues. But just remember, there's no bailouts this time. And that means bail-ins. And of course, Jason and I, when we think that's when the digital currency is going to come in. That's when people the vast majority of Americans at that point, Jason, are either living paycheck to paycheck or they're already at the mercy of the government, right? They've been laid off or whatever it may be. They're on food stamps or rental assistance already. When those things happen, it's the ones that have that money. You're the ones that are going to be bailing the bank in. Because let's face it, at the end of the month, you don't have any money. You're not going to contribute to the bail-in, right? And, of course, bail-in means what? Depositors are going to pay. So be very, very careful. If nothing else, be under the $250,000 limit. I want to, Jason's pointed it out a bunch of different times about what are we adding, like 87,000 IRS agents?
Yeah, they added this year.
That's not an accident. That's not oh man, we're a little understaffed, right? I mean, right? A little understaffed. Maybe you add a couple thousand. You're a little understaffed. Maybe even 5,000. No, 87,000 of them. So, and again, it just, all of this stuff very much anticipated. To Jason's point, a lot of this has been planned. What do you think these agents are being hired to do? Go after the what? What is it now? I think we're up to 72% of working class people are living paycheck to paycheck. We hired them to go after them? Of course not. What they're going to be deciding, what do you think they're going to be doing? Why do I have this horrible, horrible thought that here's exactly what they're going to do? Oh, hey, we got a little problem here. We have this debt and all these derivatives, and all of a sudden nobody's buying houses. Commercial real estate prices are already falling there. Deals are starting to unwind. But when people stop paying, and all of a sudden the bank needs to go mark to market, if you will, on these trades that these things that don't trade a lot because the bank needs money. So the only way the bank can get more money is, hey, I got to sell some of my derivatives. Well, I've got it priced in at 100%, and then they go to the market and they're only offered 50 cents on the dollar. Poof, we got a big problem. Why do I have that feeling, Jason? The IRS agents, these 87,000 new hires, one of their jobs is going to be, well, I can see here that you've had $200,000 in the bank for like the last 5 or 6 years. You really don't need it, right? I mean, because if you had needed it, you would have already spent it. Tell you what, we want to, we got a problem. You guys know, look, it's horrible out there. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let you have, and they're going to pick a number. I don't know what the number is going to be. Right? Is it going to be 10,000, 50,000? Are they going to let you keep 20% of your money, 50% of your money? I don't know. But let's just, for argument's sake, 200,000, and they say, you know what? Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you 50. Now, don't worry. The other 150,000, you're gonna get a bond. You're gonna get a bond for that. Now, I don't know when you can sell it. You can't sell it. But don't worry, you got a bond here for 150 grand. At some point in the future, we'll let you know when you can sell that bond to get your $150,000 back. That's the way I see it happening, Jason.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, you're right. You look at that's an army of people they're going to hire. Can you imagine? You look at one of those medieval films, and 87,000 guys come pouring over the hill. Right? They're hiring an army. The IRS is hiring an army, and everything you just said, Joe, they're going to have to train these people to do this work, to go after this money, that they know that when people are down on their luck, they can do anything they can to cut the system. And that's what they're going to be there. They're there to go after your money. That's all they're there for. That's all the IRS has ever been there for. It's the loan shark is the Federal Reserve, and the collection agent, that's Rocky Balboa. That's the leg breaker. And Joe, 87,000. I mean, that's like one out of every 1,500 workers is going to be an IRS agent. They're just hiring.
It's not like they didn't have a lot of employees already. That's on top of. And here's the thing, one of the things that to Jason's point, this is probably one of the most unnecessary waste of government and taxpayer. It's a waste of our money. You know what the answer really is? It's such a simple answer. Make the tax code so simple, you don't need IRS agents. Simple.
Yep.
Period. Simple. There's no the only reason we have to have it is because the tax code is so complicated. And believe me, all the billionaires out there, they're going to have it all their investments all over this place, and they're going to be just fine. You got to remember, and I tell people this all the time, it's so hard for people I don't know why it's so hard. Apple doesn't have their money in the bank. I mean, they have enough in there to cover their payroll and buy stuff and do that. But believe me, all their extra money, I don't have it in the bank. They buy bonds. That's what they do with it. Why? Because they know, well, the bank could go under. We'll lose all our money. Right? And these are the things that most people don't realize. And it's one of these things where when it all happened, this is what they decided to do. Hey, we're not going to bail out these banks. We're going to let them go under, and it's going to be a bail-in. Just remember, when you open an account at a bank, you no longer own the money. The bank owns the money. And this has been banking law since like the 1400s. So like hundreds of years before we were even a country, that was the law. That's how it works. Because that way, because obviously the bank, what does the bank do with the deposits? It loans them out. The bank cannot loan money that isn't theirs, right? Legally. Right? You can't loan money that isn't yours. Well, that's what, when you open your account and you're initialing here and signing here and pressing OK, that's what it is. Now, there's a contract in there that says, hey, the bank needs to make those funds available to you at your request. That's the contract. Of course, what did we learn during the financial crisis? What did we learn in Greece? What did we learn in Cyprus? We learned was, hey, that contract no longer applies when it's an emergency, Jason.
Right. And these IRS agents that you brought up, Joe, they're not going after the waitress that's not claiming every dollar in tips. They're going after that big chunk of money you got sitting there. Or I'll tell you one thing. Here's something else you're going to see as they get all these guys trained. Wesley Snipes. Most people remember what happened to him. He was arrested and put in jail for tax evasion. Why do I get the feeling a whole lot of sports stars, athletes, Joe, and a lot of actors, a lot of guys that don't know how to handle those larger sums of money they're making, why do I feel like they're going to be a bunch of these guys suddenly put in front of the news? Oh, look at this, Johnny Depp. He was hiding money, right, Joe? Why do I feel like we're going to see a lot of that coming up?
And it's going to be a lot of that cash. Let's talk about cash. Does cash go away the second there's the digital central bank currency? That's a good question. A lot of people, I think there's a lot of degrees of answers. Some people think it will be a gradual system. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, if you turn your cash in before May 1st, we're going to give you dollar for dollar credit, and they may even, and again, it'll be based on probably how much money you make and race and a bunch of other stuff. They may even give you a little bonus just to incentivize you to do it. Now, one of the things I guarantee you show up to that bank with more than $10,000, you're going to be. Hey, Joe, can you step aside over here? Yeah, this just take just a couple minutes, and there's going to be a form, and they're going to fill it out with you, help you fill it out, and then they're going to put a hold on it, right? Hey, we're gonna put a hold on this because we got the IRS guy. He's going to have to check it out, and you're probably going to have to produce some documents to show us how you've earned this money.
And, Joe, when we get on the other side of this break, let me give you a few takes on how I think they're going to get the cash out, because I agree with most of what you said, but there's a few things that I alluded to earlier.
Yeah, this isn't universal. Listen, There's a lot. Some people think there's going to be a drop-dead date, right? May 1st, everything's got to be in, and after that it's worthless. Others think, hey, maybe they're going to give you that date and then say later dates and they give you less value for it. We'll talk about because there's a bunch of different options out there. We'll talk about them when we return. 800-951-0592. The markets are closed. Wall Street's closed for the Juneteenth holiday. Gold and silver, almost dead flat. Right now, gold is down 20 cents. Silver's down 0.007. What is that?
0.7 of a cent.
10,000th of a cent
10,000
right now. Right, so something like that.
Right.
So the markets are pretty boring today. We still have a special today, $20 gold pieces. This is a big deal. This is a lot of money off here. $45 off at $21.50 at 800-951-0592. Jay Powell on Friday kind of let the cat out of the bag and just said, okay, enough. We played possum long enough. Yep, we're going to need a digital currency, and we need it. One of the reasons we're going to need it is to help keep that reserve currency status globally, because could you imagine if we went from all to nothing, like what happened to the pound or what happened to the Spanish real before that? That would be horrendously devastating because of the size of our debt. But we're going to lose some ground to the Chinese. That's a given. But we're not getting it without the bank run first, and that's really what we're trying to protect and educate people about, because the way the new rule works, there's no more bailout. So remember the last time, we know the headline number. They gave the banks like $700 billion. That was the headline number. But as Jason will tell you, there was trillions and hundreds of trillions of dollars of liquidity being provided behind the scenes. But let's just set that aside. Let's just go with the $700 billion. Where do you think that $700 billion is going to come from? And the answer is very simple. It comes from the depositors. That's who's going to do it. That's who's going to have to pay for it. And again, it's like I said, I don't think they're just going, anything over $250 they're probably going to take, because legally they don't have to protect you above that amount. Anything under that, like I said in our example, $200,000, but you've had it in there for years, believe me, a big chunk of that is going to be going to that $700 billion, and you'll get some bond that sometime in the future maybe you'll be able to sell them. I guess, and why do I get the feeling, Jason, it's probably going to be U.S. Treasury, because someone's going to have to buy it all.
That's right, Joe. There was 8 banks in China, most of them near Shanghai, that just froze the accounts over the weekend. And now, of course, as they were getting ready to open, now there's talks of, well, you know what, there's more coronavirus. We're probably going to have to re-shut down.
And what's happening in China is, and everything's working through the phones. You know, you got to have them, and they just basically tell you that you get an alert on your phone. Your account went from green to red, and then all of a sudden, red means, hey, you got to stay inside. You can't go anywhere, and oh, by the way, you can't get money out of your bank even.
There you go, Joe. That's exactly right. I think they're testing this thing in China right now, and they're going to get all the data and then figure out how these new 87,000 IRS agents are going to implement this change over to digital currency, Joe. And you hit a whole bunch of good points on the last segment. And I guess one of the things, a couple of things I'd like to add, which is look at how they treated coins. You know, nobody, even the cash spenders that are out there that buy gold and silver, a lot of you guys don't like coins. We've inflated ourselves to making these coins worthless. But look what they've done, Joe. You heard these little, they're dirty coins, and there's a coin shortage. Remember that during coronavirus, there's a coin shortage.
There's still places in Phoenix with signs up saying coin shortage.
And it says the Federal Reserve has issued a coin shortage. Well, they don't even. That's the one thing they don't make. That's the one thing our Treasury still makes is the coins. The Federal Reserve actually has almost no input except for as to how much they may suggest the Treasury mint. But what I've seen, Joe, and I used to be the guy that remember I used to go to the bank and get boxes of pennies and pull out the copper ones because there were 2 cents worth of copper in each one. It was kind of a nice little hobby I do at night when my son was younger. You put him to bed, and my wife would do Facebook or connect with her friends at night before bed, and I would go through these pennies. Well, I had to take all that zinc. The 90% of them or more, they were 80% were zinc, and I had to take them back and dump them. And it became difficult to find the places to go where I could do that for free. Well, that doesn't exist. So I think, Joe, when it comes to cash, the questioning of your 10,000 or more deposits will actually come to an end after a certain point. Here's the two things I think they'll do. As I had mentioned earlier, I think there's going to be cash back on this new digital currency. That's why they're going to get everyone to love it. But on top of that, I think there's going to be after they've instituted all of these IRS agents, one is going to be, hey, there's going to be a hard date. You were talking about this hard date, Joe. Well, I think the hard date is just going to be, hey, on this date, we charge you 10% for all deposits of cash. They don't want to really have to deal with arresting people.
So the gradual effect of getting rid of cash, to Jason's point, say, and we're not going to make cash worthless, but what we are going to say is any cash after May 1st, we're going to charge it 10%. Like, those machines at the grocery store?
That's exactly where I was going, Joe. Yeah, they charge you 10% right? Now. 10%.
Yeah, dude, I think it's even more than that. But
and that's a tax, Joe. That's a tax that the IRS doesn't have to physically collect. That's 10% tax on cash. And I think that, Joe, they may, in this situation, they're going to penalize cash so much, but then when it comes down to they're criminals, the actual criminal, the drug runners and stuff. Hey, the cost of doing your crimes, which the government's in bed with a lot of these big time drug dealers and things like that. Hey, that's just the cost of doing business for criminals, and I think cash might stick around, Joe. But who's going to use it?
Yeah, but here's the problem: as soon as you institute that. Pretty much every major company in America, yes, the sign immediately goes up, we no longer accept cash.
Exactly. So it'll be that dirty thing on the side, Joe, that might exist. Like I said, just for those politicians that want to have the Iran-Contra thing going on, or you want to do the Barack Obama and what was that, the Fast and the Furious, and you want to drop a big pallet of cash in Iraq.
Yeah, and my guess is, Jason's probably right, that's probably logical. And then what they'll do, and by the way, a year or two later, they'll say, okay, after this date, no more cash, because it'll hardly be used. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason. U.S. $20 gold pieces, $21.50. That is $45 off at 800-951-0592. And again, the markets are closed for the Juneteenth holiday. So we're able to do a little different show. We don't have a lot of or any economic data out today. So we're going back and we're watching what's happening. Think about last week. The issues in the Japanese bond markets, the Italian bond yields blowing out, the emergency meeting from the European Central Bank, which, Jason, I'll say this is the first time ever that I could ever recall that a major central bank has a quote-unquote emergency meeting and almost no information is released outside of, we're getting worried about some bond market stuff, but they don't really give no press conference, right? No meeting afterwards, none of those things, which tells you it's even scarier, because if it wasn't that scary, they would have done all those things.
That's right, Joe. And if you want to see where things are headed, you always got to just look at, the king of the castle when it comes to banking. That's the central banks. There's the big banks, and they do a lot of damage themselves, Joe. But yeah, everything you're mentioning, you just got to look at what they're doing. So when we give you this early information that we do every day on the show, you got to look at it. What happens on a small, it's always tested first, isn't it, Joe, before they wholesale institute it?
Yes. And then, of course, Jay Powell's comments on Friday, right? All of a sudden, there's this clear path. Okay, you know what? Jason, I got to talking. Maybe it's a good idea, and this is what we're doing today, is remind you the changes that were made to the banking rules. Notice I said rules, not laws. These are rules. This wasn't, some of it was in Dodd-Frank, like the no more bailouts. Got to be a bail-in. One of the other things, too, just so you know, at any time, they can declare emergencies, stop you from withdrawing from your money markets. See, remember, you got to go back into the financial crisis, right? Those money markets started breaking the buck, right? And essentially, the money markets accounts were going insolvent, right? They can stop you from that. They can stop you from making any stock trades. Can't take your money out. You can't go to the sidelines. All of this power has been granted, like I said, through a combination of laws and rules. Dodd-Frank essentially allowed for the setup of quote-unquote emergency powers that all of a sudden can tell you, hey, you're not allowed to sell. You're not allowed to go to the sidelines. You're not allowed to withdraw your money, right? To Greece, prime example. So the rules are already in place. Remember, in Greece, you could go to the ATM, you only could get $20. You couldn't close your bank accounts. You couldn't, you could still pay your bills, but you weren't allowed to take money out of the bank. And the reason being was because, hey, listen, we may need to use that money to pay off the bank's debts, right? This is what is coming. And then, of course, with digital currencies, we talk about cash. I think Jason's probably right. There's going to be a date, and then after that date, the banks are going to charge a fee so astronomical, 10%, that nobody's going to take cash anymore, and that's how they'll get rid of it. And you'll just have to turn it in for digital credits. And those of you small businesses that deal in a lot of cash, you already know. Hey, you already get charged. As an example, banks. Most people don't know this. You're allowed $20,000 of cash deposits a month. Once you exceed the $20,000, they charge you $300 per $100 $100,000 of deposited cash. Now, doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, if you put in $1 million in cash in a month, that's $3,000. That's a lot. And again, you don't think about places like Walmart and them. They put a lot in there. So when I talk about Walmart over here near my work, there's only one check stand you can use to pay in cash.
Yep.
Why? Well, because Walmart doesn't want cash. Because, hey, you know, think about what. I don't even want to imagine what their banking fees are in cash. They want to get rid of it, right? And I think that's what's going to happen, Jason.
Well, and Joe, I think on top of that, I think, and this is just, you know, this is all, theory, but I think businesses, when they go to turn their cash in at that point, let's just say it's 10% for charge to people to put the money in the bank, or to businesses. I think there, you know, you'll go up to the check stand and there'll be a cash charge. Hey, are you doing charge or cash? Whatever they charge people coming in with it, Joe, I think businesses will actually be rewarded for flushing as much cash out of the system. Hey, you only have to pay 7% to get it in, so we can send that to the Fed and then destroy it, right? So there'll be a lot of hey, well, we're going to motivate you to get rid of the cash with us. You know, we'll let the businesses and the big banks, you know, you'll only have to pay 7%. Everybody else pays 10%, Joe.
Hey, anything's possible. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592, $20 gold, $2,150. And just to kind of put this all together, we don't know where the first suddenly happens. We're on the gradual right now, right? We got all these little warning signs. Right, we got one from Japan. We got one from the ECB in Italy. We've gotten warning signs from China, right? We talk about the property market, the banking market. We've got warning signs here in the United States, right? I mean, look at the last rate hikes, and now, we talk about residential real estate. We haven't really talked about commercial real estate. That has stopped. Matter of fact, deals are starting to go the other way on that side of it as well. We don't know where the first hole in the dam is going to be, but the problem, Jason, is everything's so interwoven that the first hole in the dam leads to the second, the third, the fourth, and then pretty soon the whole dam just collapses.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. There's so many warnings out there if you're paying attention. I mean, Joe, one of the things that businesses normally do is when the cost of things to run your business go up, you just build it into the price. But more and more, you know, these businesses don't want to be the bad guy for raising prices, so they add fees. Oh, here's a gas fee. You know, you're paying the same price, but now here's a gas fee, or here's a delivery fee, or here's a something tax.
A service fee.
Correct. And Joe, when it comes to what we're talking about, and they're going to do this, you know, just look at the bank never used to charge for you to bring your coins in. It's money, but now they do. So they're going to be doing it with the cash. And Joe, if we did it the same way some of these businesses do, you know, we get charged for putting the cash in. We get charged to put the cash in. So at some point, if that charge becomes too heavy, you know, we love our customers that come in and buy gold privately. We get that. That's the way I've always done it myself. But at some point, Joe, the cost is the cost, right? At some point, it's like, you know what? Unfortunately, maybe you should do a bank check. You know, maybe you should do a check to put the money in a lot more easily and cost effective. Because if it costs us a lot of money to put the cash in, Joe, that there's nothing we can do, right?
Yeah, and they'll make it to where the businesses do it for them, right? Walmart and Targets and the major Kroger, Costco, right? They'll be the first. Hey, we're not taking it anymore. And then eventually, you know, no one can survive. No small, you can't survive a 10% fee or even 7% fee. I mean,
yep. Well, Joe, and they'll charge it. I think you go into Walmart and you know, hey, are you paying cash? Bang, there's like $50 charge, or 10% or 5%. And when you go to your bank, hey, I need to withdraw $2,000 cash. Bang, there's going to be a charge there. They're going to charge you on the way getting it out, and they're going to charge you on the way in. And that's why they'll kill it. because it just becomes too expensive, Joe.
Yeah, and I don't think Walmart or Target will even do, or Kroger, they won't even go that far. That was just like, we're not taking it, period. We're not going to be doing the charge thing. That's just my opinion. Other places could. I think maybe that's where maybe some smaller businesses may, but again, either way, right? We could be totally wrong. We're guessing on this one. We could be wrong on it. They could have a hard date, and all the cash after that's left out there isn't worth anything. They could give you a timetable to turn it in, or they could just simply, to Jason's point, oh, you want to use cash? Well, we're not going to stop you, but there's fees involved. And by the way, good luck finding somebody willing to pay the fee, right? Either way, not a lot of great things coming up.